Hello, this is the presentation by Steve Bamigboye and Oluwaseyi Akinbade. The topic of the presentation is identifying data roles and protecting data privacy. Table of content, we have identifying data roles, protecting privacy, and references. Abstract, this topic focuses on ensuring the roles of data roles are clearly defined in an organization. Being able to define the data roles allows for responsibility being assigned appropriately to the roles. Furthermore, we are looking at how data privacy could be protected in an organization. This is the different controls that can be implemented to ensure data is protected. In our chapter 1, we talk about the importance of identifying data roles in the organization. This is because without identifying the roles, management would not be able to identify who is responsible for critical data. Also, roles assignment comes with the responsibility of ensuring the critical data and information is safe. Furthermore, data roles can be referred to functional roles, statistical and related to specific data set, information system, and asset. Following, we have the different types of data roles. The number one on the list is data owner. Data ownership is primarily a data governance process that details in organizations' legal ownership of enterprises-wide data. A specific organization or the data owner has the ability to create, edit, modify, share, and restrict access to the data. Data ownership also defines the data owner's ability to assign, share, or surrender all of these privileges to a third party. For instance, we had the marketing department and we had file servers as well as different databases, which hosted the departmental files of the marketing department and database of various departments. Now only the departmental head had the prerogative of giving instruction to us, the system administrator, for any alteration on the folders or the file servers. Hence, it was the core responsibility of the departmental head to send authorization emails for changes to the folder. Other functions of departmental heads include, but not limited to, establish the rule for appropriate use and protection of the subject data information, provide input to information system regarding the security requirements and security controls for the information system, decide who has access to the information system and what types of privileges. The second on the list is the system owner. This information system owner, also referred to as system owner, is the individual responsible for the overall procurement, development, integration, modification, operation, maintenance, and retirement of all of an information system. This system owner is a key contributor in developing system design specification to ensure the security and user operation needs and are documented, tested, and implemented. Develops a system security plan in coordination with information owners, the system's administrator, and functional ends users. Some of the functions of the systems owner are maintains the system security plan and ensure that the system is developed, deployed, and operated according to the agreed upon security requirements. Ensure that systems users support personnel receive appropriate security training such as instruction on rules of behavior or an update the system security plan whenever a significant change occurs, assist in the identification, implementation, and assessment of the common security controls. Next on the list, we have the business owners. The key business owners are primarily the organization managers. They are the reason why the system owners provide services. The business owners are responsible for ensuring system provide value to the organization. They are in charge of the core business of the organization. They use critical application as tools for the business to generate revenue. So again, during my time with the bank, we had frontline customer service agents interfacing with customer. they used a banking solution to attend to the customers. Oftentimes, if the banking solution goes down, it would affect the business. This downtime is as a result of controls that were applied to the business by the IT team. The failure of the IT team to carry the business unit along, this failure leads to revenue losses to the business. The way that was resolved was that I was able to recommend to senior management that all changes must go through the change management board. This recommendation was able to reduce the failure rate of the business critical application of the bank. Also, business owners were in the know if any changes was to occur. Next on the list, we have the data processors. A data processor is any system used to process data, but in the context of the EU data protection law, data processor has a more specific meaning. The EU data protection law defines a data processor as a natural or legal person which processes personal data solely on behalf of the data controller. In this context, the data controller is the person or entity that controls processing of the data. The EU Data Protection Directive restricts data transfer to countries outside of the EU. These countries must meet specific requirements that indicate they meet an adequate level of data protection. The goal is to prevent unauthorized disclosure of information handled by data processors and transmitted between data processors and the data controller. The Safe Harbor program includes the following 7 principles: notice, choice, onward transfer, security, data integrity, access, and enforcement. Now we go to the administrator. Administrator, they are responsible for the granting appropriate access to personnel. They are not full administrator. For instance, they have access to reset users account or Active Directory server. However, they do not have access to full administrative roles such as creating or deleting accounts on the Windows server. This principle of least privilege dictates what access level is granted to the administrator. The last but not the least, we have 2 other roles, which is custodian and users. Custodian data owners are responsible for day-to-day delegation to a data custodian. A custodian primary responsibility is to ensure and secure the data by properly storing and protecting it. In various departments, I ensure that backups were done for all the file servers in accordance with the approved backup policy. Last but not the least, which is the users. A user is any person like you and I who access data via a computing systems to accomplish work tasks. They only have access to resources on the file server, for instance, to allow them to complete their job. Chapter 2, we have the protecting privacy. Organizations have an obligation to protect data that they collect and maintain. For instance, very recently, Facebook was going to be fined by the GDPR laws for the data breach that occurred of Q1 of 2000 and Q1 of 2018. Incidentally, it was reported that about 5 million Facebook Europe citizens were affected by the hack and the data breach. Third-party applications were sending Facebook account details to third-party companies and vice versa. In the aftermath of the data breach, Facebook has decided to comply with the GDPR rules in engaging its users based in European GDPR laws to get consent from them going forward on what it does with its data. Lastly, aside from implementing the GDPR, company must seek to comply with existing laid down regulatory laws, else failure could impact on the business, which would lead the business paying enormous fines. Using secure baselines. Baselines are minimum security standard. This applies to technology. For instance, what big organizations do is that they have a set of business baselines to ensure systems are image or ghosted, such that the minimum security requirement on an Windows operating system is maintained throughout the organization. Similarly, group policy objects in Windows Active Directory are used to implement security standards that cut across the organization software ecosystems. However, an audit review is always done to ensure compliance with the security policies of the organization. Scoping and tailoring. Scoping refers to reviewing base security controls and selecting only those controls that apply to the IT system you are trying to protect. For example, if a system doesn't allow two people to log on to it at the same time, there is no need to apply a concurrent section control. Tailoring refers to modifying the list of security controls within a baseline so that they align with the mission of the organization. For example, an organization might decide that a set of baseline controls applies perfectly to computer in their main location, but some controls aren't appropriate or visible in a remote office location. In this situation, the organization can select compensating security controls to tailor the baseline to the remote location. Selecting standards. When selecting controls, security controls within a baseline or otherwise, organization needs to ensure that the controls comply with certain external security standards. External elements typically define compulsory requirements for an organization. As an example, the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard (PCI) defines requirements that business must follow to process major credit cards. Similarly, organizations that want to transfer data to and from EU countries must abide by the principle in the Safe Harbor standard. Not all organizations have to comply with this standard. Organizations that don't process credit cards transactions do not need to comply with PCI DSS. Organizations that do not transfer data to and from EU countries do not need to comply with the Safe Harbor standards. This is our reference, and that is how far we've gone about the topic. Thank you very much. Bye.